Yamama akwa baba JOA TV so say the be America no ono hwe JOA TV the America say already o nhyiram onye mo kase omo mo kwatente na de mo do mo sabeka bi aso enye nhira say the e kan yo o say be dan Kristo so ma di na mo wo so na wo mo no na kwan se ni sitie obi amfa say say ye wona and them no be kasa for the proof of Jesus, the proof of Jesus Christ, and them no be kasa for until say wutie mi a fa wo pen fa wo book quotation me kan me nkan me ka quotation no but me nkan pese wa wo tworo na wo kan na wo se de American sa na tie na obi di say ye wona ya ntam na wa che no wa fo ankoto amane hunu because nyame so no wa ntia ase na wo kɔ no se de wo pa wo a utimi kɔ bo nsɛm dwem abra wo nim se na wo som Kristo ni nyina ne se wa ntia ase ye pa se wo nya ntia ase na obi ntimi mfa ono no Bible wakan na wanti ase a nya ye no mfa medada wo ye mo wo ti ye kan ne ama quotation nti tworo and na ye the proof of Jesus e kyerɛ wo sɛ Yesu Kristo say na edai otie nti yenko. The Bible and the history are both evidence that Jesus is who he said he was. If one believes in the Bible, he must believe in Jesus as the Son of God. John 20, verse 30 to 31. John 20, verse 30. John 20, verses 31. John 20, verses 30. John 20, verses 31. If one believes historical documents, he must believe that Jesus existed. If one believes historical documents, he must believe that Jesus existed. The proof of prophecy. The proof of prophecy. There are over 300 prophecies in the Old Testament concerning Jesus and his work. There are over 300 prophecies in the Old Testament concerning Jesus and his work. These prophecies were written hundreds of years before Jesus lived. He would be a descendant of Abraham. He would be a descendant of Abraham. Genesis 12, 1 to 3. Genesis 12, 1 to 3. Osha Galatians 3, 16. And also Galatians 3, 16. He would be a descendant of Isaac. He would be a descendant of Isaac. Genesis 21, verse 12. Genesis 21, verse 12. Usha Hebrew Romans or Hebrew 11, 18. Hebrews 11, 18. He will be born of Judah. He would be born of Judah. Genesis 49, 10. Genesis 49, 10. Usha Luke 3, 33. Usha Luke 3, 33. And also Apocryphal. He would be a descendant of David. He would be a descendant of David. 2 Samuel 7:12. 2 Samuel 7:12 to 16. 2 Samuel 7:12 to 16. Which are Revelation 22 verse 16. Revelation 12 verse 16. And also Apocryphal. He would be born in Bethlehem. He would be born in Bethlehem. Micah 5 verses 2. Micah 5 verses 2. Matthew 2 1. Matthew 2 verses 1. Matthew 2 verses 3. John 7:42. John 7:42. He would be betrayed. He would be betrayed. Psalm 41 verse 9. Psalm 41 verse 9. Psalm 55 verse 12. Psalm 55 verse 12 to 14. Psalm 55 verse 12 to 14. Mark 14, 66 to 72. Mark 14, 66 to 72. He would be raised from the dead. He would be raised from the dead. Psalm 16 verse 10. Psalm 16 verse 10. Acts. Usha asuma for ngomana. which is Acts 2:32. Acts 2:32. The proof of his existence. Many ancient historical documents refer to Jesus as events surrounding his ministry. The proof of his existence. Many ancient historical documents refer to Jesus and events surrounding his ministry. Julius Africanus quoted Tyrus, who lived in Rome around AD 52. Tyrus, who lived in Rome around AD 52. Tyrus was familiar with the darkness that came over the earth at the time Jesus was crucified. Tyrus was familiar with the darkness that came over the earth at the time Jesus was crucified. Matthew 27:45. Matthew 27:45. Maraba Serapion, in a letter to his son, refers to the Jewish execution of their king, a reference to Jesus. Maraba Serapion, in a letter to his son, referred to the Jewish execution of their king, a reference to Jesus. Tacitus, who was born around AD 52 to 54. AD 52 to 54 refers to Christ, which is Christos, which is Christ, who was executed during the reign of Tiberius. Who was executed during the reign of Tiberius. Plinius Secundus, Pliny, the younger governor of Batanea, around AD 112, wrote to Caesar Trajan concerning the problem of Christians in his province. The Jewish Talmud teaches that were complied from AD 70 to 2000. Jewish teachings that were complied from AD 70 to 2000 makes many reference to Yahuwah of Nazareth, though the references are made in a negative content. Josephus, a Jewish historian at the end of the 1st century, refers to Jesus as a wise man, a doer of marvelous deeds. The proof of his miracles and resurrection. If Jesus were who he said he was, then he would be expected him to have control over the supernatural and the natural world. He would not be subject to a death without the resurrection. While religions of men focus on the tombs of their founders, Christians focus on the reign of a resurrected Savior. The rapid growth of the church in the 1st century in only a few years in answer in the fact that Jesus was actually raised from the dead. The proof of persecuted disciples. The suffering and death of the early Christians can be answered only in the fact that they believed Jesus was the resurrected Son of God. The disciples willingly suffered for Jesus. Acts 4 verses 18. Acts 4 verses 18. Acts 4 verses 19. Acts 4 verses 19. Acts 14 verses 22. Acts 14 verse 22. 2 Timothy verses 3. 2 Timothy 3 verses 12. 2 Timothy 3 verses 12. The disciples really died for Jesus. The disciples really died for Jesus. Acts 8, 1 to 3. Acts 8, 1 to 3. Acts 12, 1 to 4. Acts 12, 1 to 4. 1 Peter 4 to 16. 1 Peter 4, verses 16. Revelation 2, verses 10. Revelation 2, verses 10. The proof of the New Testament documents. The existence of the ancient New Testament documents proves that Christianity was a powerful movement in the first century because these documents were written without contradiction by several men over a period of many years. Prove that neither Jesus nor the church were the invention of men. John 20 verses 30, John 20 verses 31. Yadi besia na watu obu ase akan na wahunu wahu se de Yesu Kristo ye de otie ama se eye no kore sasa asisu obae nipa di adanse ti so so do ho no to so a na ngoye se obi bebu wabam na Yesu bi ani ho na nyambo bi ani ho oba ma nipa hu ehunu dwumadie ama ya kyero a ewo ho a usua obehunu awurade hyira onya wo kase woni doba Yesu Kristo di nti amen.